Okay, hi people. So, take two. I almost wasn't going to record today, but again, I feel like I am going to miss an opportunity about speaking about something that could be important. So, I realized that's not, I didn't just realize, but I've always realized I know that storytelling is a huge part of helping people relate, for us to relate to each other. And so, we are watching a new series that spawned this topic. So I'm glad for this. It's called Never Have I Ever, and I believe it's on Netflix since that's a lot of what we watch. Um, okay, so Never Have I Ever. It's a teenager's story, and basically the main character is she finds a boyfriend. Basically, he gets a new girlfriend, and she is jealous of this new friend. So it sparked my memory to this issue that I had, some challenges with a friend I have. And this actually, I started talking about it as a jealousy thing. It's not a jealousy thing, but for some reason it sparked this issue. I think it was just basically a friendship conflict. And that's why I wanted to give this example, because I was almost confusing myself. I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't really have to do with jealousy. Okay, so friendship conflict. I am going to speed up the story to basically this friend, a very dear friend to me for a very long time, but we don't really talk anymore for a variety of reasons. But this was about when I was age 30, or like between 30 and 35. And basically, this is kind of a story. Okay, so friendship conflict. This isn't the first time this has happened with a friend, and I haven't had tons of dramatics and drama going on with the couple of friends that I've had in life, especially females. But basically, it was the whole I didn't really like, while I didn't know him, her husband at the time, right? So she's venting and sharing things to me, and I'm listening. And even still back then, we were close enough to where we're asking each other questions. But I've never been a person to be like, in any way, you need to leave them, you need to do this and this or whatever. Um, but I do feel like I had the energy that I was putting out there and towards her, that this is not who I would have chosen for her based on the things that she was describing about him. So I didn't really know him. It was only through her stories. And looking back at it, or actually even at that time, I feel like I was being a jerk by the way that I was acting about it, the way I was acting towards it, and definitely not being very, that was not a very loving quality. And so while I was always, I would say I've always been a person of love and to give love, and I love regardless, I still, of course, have grown up in our society like having judgments upon people, situations, especially being a music snob growing up. And so I thought about this as an example because it was a conflict. I think since it was so new in the friendship, I did wonder how much it was going to affect us. She did hang out with him a lot, so inviting him to things. And I think I was more worried about that and kind of like, am I still going to be friends with this person? Should I be friends with them? How is this going to affect our friendship? Asking all those questions at the time. And I think I did realize um, whether it's a self actualization process, it was my own thinking process ways, of liking the person, like it really wasn't going to end up, um, um, it didn't end up affecting us. And I knew that she was going to have to learn her own lesson, learn on her own, like all of us, right? You can say all these beautiful things to people and that you feel like are supportive, but they still have to learn in their own way. So whether I did it for myself or I've done it for others, I like to help them and ask them questions, because again, they may not see it in the same way. It's kind of like saying, if you were to give an example that the person is toxic or negative or whatever it is, for you, they may not agree. And platonic or romantic, I think a lot of us go through these sorts of questions in our mind. Um, platonic or romantic, like, I don't like your friend, or I don't agree with that, or whatever it is. And I don't know, I just look at it now, look at it back then as well as like kind of being a jerk. So if it really ultimately doesn't affect your friendship with the person, maybe just change the subject, right? And I'm all about working on relationships and figuring out how to manage them. Where I think that's another thing people need to keep in mind is be careful who you talk to about your problems, because a lot of people are like, you should break up, you should leave them, whatever it is. So that's another piece of advice. But in this video and episode, what I wanted to say is that if I didn't already say it, I did say about storytelling. But a lot of my examples, this is another reason why I lag and some stuff of my personal stories, um, is that I have so many examples to talk about how I was an introvert and how I became extroverted. And I know that doesn't apply to everybody, but that's what a lot of my examples are. But I have so many different things that I could talk about. Um, Jealousy is definitely in there, but I wouldn't say that was like one of my core or deep um, issues, like with anybody, like specifically. Like I'd really have to sit on it. And maybe I'll do another episode on that, because again, that takes time when you really start looking at it. Um, the introvert to extrovert, the jealousy, because my biggest, I feel like I feel and know self worth are the roots of everything for a lot of us, and rejection from life, attachment, and uh, one of my biggest things, like, okay, so we'll finish this part out in saying that with that friendship, that so she ended up getting a divorce from her husband, and our friendship ended up dissolving for different reasons, is that because I was so close to her, I would still say it was very painful. I have grieved a lot of people in my life as if they are physical death, even though they are just gone out of my life. Um, is that I knew, so there are soul contracts, but I knew with her that in a way it's like we completed those lessons together, because um, in this situation, I did not specifically cry so bad. It's like the energy is gone. Like I said to myself after those last couple conversations, is I'm done asking questions, because I learned so much from her. Um, that was part of it. So I was done asking questions, and that's part of also, like, I don't know to say it's healing. Um, it was healing part, but also just healing the soul contract and whatever it is that it needed to fulfill, right? So people, you will hear them say, come into your life for a season. The season could include a reason, but people will fulfill certain areas of your life or phases of your life, and sometimes they move on, sometimes they stay physically. And so I don't know. I guess that's all about to wrap up this little example here, because there's so much more that I could talk about. But I would definitely say that attitude I had was a personal struggle for me in a lot of situations. So it wasn't the first time that I felt that, I remember feeling that about somebody's choice in their boyfriend or friends. But anyway, that new series is giving me some material for these shows. So I didn't want to pass up this opportunity of being able to talk about this right now. And if I was going to end this with any sort of coaching pieces of advice, is that really just when it comes to friendships and relationships, really just asking yourself, how much you like the person, how much you love them, how much you want them in your life, and learning some social skills to be able to talk to the person and resolve things if you want to keep them in your life. Because I do know that I did that with a couple of different people, that I did not, either I was scared of speaking up or whatever it was. Um, in this case, I know that we talked about it, but um, I don't even remember exactly it's just conversations or anything like that. But yeah, if we were taught some conflict resolution skills, maybe, things would be different with people that we could still have in our lives as a result of being able to speak up compassionately and everything that I know now. So I will talk to you next time, and continue to look for more examples. I have lots of them, and I will just talk to you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.